you can have multiple orgasms. You can have full body orgasms. I've even experienced throat orgasms and laughing gasms and nipple orgasms and toe orgasms and food gasms.
Mahala, my friend. How are you? Welcome.
I'm so excited. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. And thank you again. I just want to mention here on the air, thank you for leading the ceremony for my beloved Shai the other day. That was really beautiful. And it was such a wonderful experience. I mean, it was tough and beautiful at the same time. So thank you.
It was such an honor that you asked me, really.
Yeah, for you guys listening, Mahala led the ceremony for her Shai, is my beloved rescue Chihuahua's memorial service that we had, and we had such a great group of people come, and we held hands at the beginning and chanted Shai's name, and I read out my story, which is in my blog as well, and it was a long story. But
Beautiful.
I couldn't have thought of anybody that I would have rather been there and done that than you. So.
Aw, yay!
Yeah,
Thank
speaking
you.
from another long time vegan, and now how many years have we been friends? It's just,
Oof.
yeah.
I think we're nearing the double decades over
Oh my
here.
gosh. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Well, I want to get into your story first because you told me that really there are two things that have shifted your life. And those two things are veganism and Tantra. Is that
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes, those two. Those
Yeah.
two.
And so let's start because I think the bulk of this conversation is going to actually be about the Tantra side of things because we don't have a lot of people on the show yet who have been talking about that and the pleasure path and pleasure. And I'm going to just be really vulnerable in this conversation, okay? Because I know I want to do some of your workshops and retreats, and there's a lot in that area that I very much have to work on. So I'm gonna kind of let us explore that if that's cool with you.
Yes, of course.
All
And
right, but
you
let's
always have a home wherever I am.
thank you. Thank you. But let's start with the veganism first. You say that was something that was incredibly important and powerful in your life. How did you get to be vegan for how many years now?
Yes. So can you believe it? I've been vegan for 37 years. 37.
37
I
years.
officially turned 50 in 2023. I'll be turning 51 in May. So when I was 13, my mom made shake and bake. I don't know if you guys all know what that is. You go to the grocery store, you buy a box, it has a bag and spices, and you put whatever meat in there, you shake it, and then you bake it. So my mom made a drumstick, chicken drumstick, and I took a bite of it and I saw like the little bones and veins, and I was like, Mom, is this a bird? And she's like, No, it's chicken. And I was like, I just felt the spirit of the bird like enter the room and sit with me at the dinner table, and I couldn't comprehend how something that was once alive was now like baked onto my plate, and it was my dinner. And so the very next day she baked a whole fish with the eyeball and the head and the fish tail, and I couldn't understand why this fish was once free in the ocean was now on my plate. So after that, I had this deep connection with animals. I actually feel their soul's essence whenever I'm near an animal and, have conversations with them. So that's why at Ella's memorial for Shy I had a meditation in the morning, and I was actually really be able to tune into Shy's spirit, and she had me share what came through for me that day with her friends and family at the memorial. So that was really special for me.
Were you able to voice that and tell people about that? I mean, I think it's so much maybe more accepted in the mainstream now, or at least in my circles. But this was quite a long time ago.
Yeah, actually, when I was younger, I had this ability to really tune into things. I love being in nature, so I would place my hands onto like objects or pets, um, or anything in nature, and I was really able to tap into their messages. And I would tune into the soul essence of the object, and I could hear the messages that they wanted to share with me.
Mm.
So, when I was growing up, I didn't really realize that it was a gift, but it really is to be able to connect with the God source that was coming through the animal or the piece of nature. So, yeah. So now, as I've gotten older, I actually, it's become my kind of like my sixth sense,
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
especially if I'm in a indecisive moment, I'm like, okay, what is it that I really need to tune into to hear the message? So,
kind of tapping into a higher source, a higher self, and others.
yeah. So I feel that we all have guides, and my spiritual posse up there is always looking down on me, and I've been very very blessed that to have the guidance that I've had. And I've always had this deep knowing that I'm always well taken care of, and that it's working out for my highest good. So I try to really embody that and live from that space, and help people when I can, wherever I can.
Yes, which you do a lot, and we're going to get into that. But first, that path with the veganism, at what point did you know that that was your calling or part of your purpose? And in terms of career-wise and opening your vegan restaurants and all of that?
Yeah, so I became vegan when I was 13. And then at 15, I had this idea. I'm like, oh, why don't I just open up a vegan restaurant? You know, just I had no idea. I never owned a restaurant at 15. Never, I didn't even have any money. I think I maybe had $20 in allowance every week. But when I moved to Miami, I was a concierge at a hotel on Ocean Drive, and I met a fellow vegan who happened to be a stockbroker, and he was passionate about veganism, and he was the first person that funded my first restaurant adventure, and I opened up my first place in 1994. It was called Naked Earth Natural Foods, and yeah, I've been in that industry since 1994.
Yeah. Talk
Yeah,
about being in the right place at the right time.
yeah,
I have a
but
feeling that's happened a lot in your life.
yeah, it's really about, it's a cross between serendipity and synchronicity, because when you say, well, it's all by luck, part of me wants to believe that it's not just luck, it's actually my soul's purpose and higher destiny.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
And then how many restaurants have you opened over the years? I guess it's a number.
Well, let's see. I had Naked Earth, and then I was in partnership with the Art of Food, and then Thrive, and then my last baby that I had was called Plant Theory Creative Cuisine, which I've now passed on the ownership to a lovely couple, and now it's being run by a husband and
Yeah.
wife team. So
And
yeah. And so now the reason why being was that now I could dedicate myself into the second part of my life. And I feel like my way of serving community has transitioned into that. And that has where Tantra has come in for me.
how were you introduced to Tantra?
Oh my goodness. This is a great
Mhm.
story.
Yeah.
So my restaurant was called for catering for this event, this weekend intensive immersion in Miami. And so we got the food prepared and everything, and I went to deliver it. And at the last moment, the organizer said to me, would you like to participate? And me being curious and always wanting to try things out, I said, yes, of course. Sure, I'll try it. So me and my partner at the time, We took the retreat immersion, and I've never looked back since. It it was it actually brought me back to myself, like the connection with my higher self, the embodiment, to be actually fully present in my body. And let me tell you, it's a work in progress. I mean, the practices is a daily practice to have that embodiment, and to be in my emotional feeling body is, we have a society that creates this culture of like disconnection and instant this and fast that. And so it actually helped me to come back to my body and to slow things down. Although it still feels like sometimes I'm on fast forward, but I just get so excited about all the amazing things that life has to offer.
Yes, I have never met someone so excited about life as you. I mean, when you call me sometimes, or if I call you and the answer on the other end of that phone is like this scream of delight. And it makes me, I mean, it's just so beautiful. And so I can't not talk to you and just feel so full of joy just to see you. It's so wonderful. At that first experience, Mahala,
Yeah.
tell me what surprised you. Was there anything shocking? Like this was a new experience for you? For those who don't know what an event like that would be like.
My biggest takeaway was that I was a human doing. I was stuck in you like I was a corporate chaser. I was like this robot just going through the motions, and kind of like barking out orders and not even connecting with my staff. Or yeah, it was kind of like I had a body, but my soul wasn't in my body. This beautiful vessel that we get gifted of is this body, and our spirit and our soul live in it. And the way our environment has been made has not been really to connect with our feelings. And I want to share that the path of Tantra is really the path towards yourself, and also the path of self-love, you know, and self-acceptance. And that for me was like my aha moment. It was the light bulb that just like is like flickering that you see now, because it's possible to remember one's true essence. And it's not all about working. It's not about what you achieve. I came from a very hyper overachiever family, where it was like, okay, what is it that you do, and what is it the what are the letters behind your name? Like what did you achieve, and what diplomas and all that stuff. And you know what? At the end of the day, if you're not happy, if you don't have pleasure, if you don't have play, and if you're not passionate about something, the number in my bank account doesn't really mean so much. And also for friends and family, like I wasn't really building connections, and especially with women. I was like, I wanted more women friendships, and I didn't have so many back then. And so I wanted to come back to that.
All right. So I guess my next question, the perception of Tantra, I think, from the outsider's view, you hear Tantra, or at least I
Yeah,
did, and I thought sex, right? All the
I
different
know.
positions, all.
It's so funny. I just was at a tantra retreat, and my friend said to me, "Well, how many men are you going to sleep with?" And I just said, "What?" I said, "Zero." The funny thing that it got associated with it being like a sex cult, but you know what? You could consider it a sex cult, meaning the fact that it's about self-love. So if you want the cult to be you, yes, then I am definitely for that. But it's really about self-love and acceptance. It's the path of the heart. It's really about the connection that you have with yourself, connections that you have with others, your authenticity, whether or not you're willing to be vulnerable. And yeah, and it's just been a beautiful adventure and a journey for myself. Yeah.
Did you know you were as disconnected as you discovered? in
Yes.
terms of your
Well,
body?
yeah, because well, we do some very deep practices in Tantra, and I remember just bawling my eyes out. Like, not just like the heaving, like guttural, like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm having this experience right now because I was so connected to my pain of being disconnected to my body, you know. I didn't always have the greatest relationship with my body. I sought a lot of external validation for myself, and that was like the road down to never accepting myself for who I am and looking at others. And always I had this comparison thing. I was always comparing myself to others,
Mhm.
and that's like the path to self-loathing and self-hate.
Yeah.
So, and the beautiful practices of Tantra include vocal activation, somatic movement, mirror work, so many beautiful, delicious practices that really drop you into your body and allow you to be free and appreciate who you are. Your unique imprint that you have for the world and for yourself is your own signature. You know, we all have this beautiful medicine that we get to share with other people. Yeah, and Tantra really helps you to connect to that.
So a lot of the women that I have worked with over the years, I mean, and what I went through with having a very unhealthy uh, relationship with my body, and a lot of the women I've worked with have this, you know, a lot of beating themselves up, looking in the mirror, negative self-talk, all of this. Now at this point, I've got this great relationship with my body. However, I don't feel like I'm super connected to it. I've got a healthy relationship, but talk about what it means to really be embodied and to then take that down a path of actual pleasure, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so for me, pleasure doesn't just relate to sexual pleasure. Pleasure to me is finding the joy and happiness in the moment,
Mm.
because it's you can find pleasure in everything that you're doing. Like, for example, eating, you know, I don't know how many times I've sat down to eat while I'm on my computer, you know, shoveling food down, multitasking. And at then I'm like, oh my God, I just ate that. Did I even taste the food? What flavors were they, you know? Yeah, so for me, pleasure in that would be turning off my computer,
Mm.
taking out my favorite dish set and silverware, and serving myself up as if I was serving my lover or my partner. You know, like that my importance to myself was number one. So it helped me to slow down and to tune into where I am at the moment. And then also another thing was finding pleasure in food, meaning giving myself the highest nutritious uh, bioavailable food to me, meaning that I would take the time to read what's on the ingredient list, to buy organic as possible, to not have so much processed food, and make the choice for myself to live and eat in pleasure. Yeah, and food is so much pleasure. Like, have you ever eaten a mango and or tasted something that just fell off a tree? When I'm in Europe or in Asia traveling, they have so many fruits that just are picked off the tree, and it's so pleasurable eating those pieces of fresh ripe fruit.
Mm. Yeah. So I think also one of the other barriers, especially for women, is aging and things that come along with aging that, you know, some of those we can, and I was going to talk about aging gracefully or aging powerfully. And then you said, oh, I am pro aging. What the hell? Just what do you mean by
Yes,
pro aging? Because that sounds
I
off.
yeah, so I'm actually, you know, everything that I see is like anti-aging,
Right.
anti-aging serum, anti-aging cream, anti-aging soap, anti-aging toothpaste. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So I'm actually pro-aging, meaning like I'm everything that I'm doing in my life right now is to celebrate my wisdom and my age as it's coming, because you can't avoid it. It's
Right.
inevitable. It's coming. Like, look at my gray, white, salt and pepper hair. I fought it for a long time, to the point where was the dyeing my hair actually made me sick. So every time I would get my hair dyed every 3 to 4 weeks, I would actually have to lie down afterwards, because the chemicals would actually seep into my brain, and it was not healthy. And I thought to myself, my partner at the time was like, you try to do everything so organic and healthy, but you're killing yourself with chemicals. And I was like, of course you are. Of course I am. So slowly by slowly, I actually let my hair grow out. And I even had the most incredible people come up to me and give me these double-handed compliments. For example, I had this woman approach me and say, you would be so much more beautiful if you dyed your hair.
Oh,
Like things
really?
like that. Yes.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. And I realized, like, where it's not acceptable in our Western society to actually grow more youthful with age, and that means accepting your the transition of your hair color, these beautiful laugh lines. And I laugh a lot.
Yes, you
you
do.
know Actually, what was even more funny? I went to my annual dentist checkup, and while we were in there getting my x-rays done, she looks at me and she says, you need Botox. And I just said, you're kidding. She's like, we do Botox now. And I'm like, wait, I'm at the dentist office and she's talking to me about Botox.
Wow.
And she was convinced that I needed it. And I was like, you know what? I actually like to see my laugh lines. I actually like to see my face laugh along with me, and that my eyes are expressing my joy and my pleasure. And, so why would I want to prevent that? So, but who knew, like, going to the dentist
I
means
never heard of that.
I could go get, anything happens in South Beach.
Yeah, it's South Beach, so I'm not surprised. And I'm still a little surprised because, yeah, I wouldn't expect that. But did you have to coach yourself, like growing the hair out and embracing that? Was that an effortful kind of reprogramming that you went through, or was it the Tantra exercises and community that really was helpful in having you really embody that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not just say it, but actually feel it.
Yeah, actually, I think it was a combination of both. So as I started to let go of societal norms and dive deeper into Tantra and allow the self-acceptance and self-love to grow, allowed me, like, I remember I think for the first 6 months, I didn't look in the mirror as my roots were growing out,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
then of course, and then I would have to have those weird comments from women of all people, instead of um, another woman coming up to me and actually celebrating that, I would get those backhanded comments. So, but now I'm on the other side, and now
Mm-hmm.
I'm like a walking uh, beacon for freedom, and women and men come up to me and actually say that they're thanking me for allowing myself to grow and being an inspiration for them.
I see that. Yeah. All right. So I want to get into sexuality and sensuality and the difference between those two things. And I know you talk about it as a recipe for youthing and longevity, which I'd never heard the word youthing. I like this word. I'm going to use this word. But can you talk about sensuality, sexuality, what those two words mean to you and the difference?
Yeah, so sensuality for me is actually being my personal reality with my senses, with all my senses. So being in the present, feeling in my body what experience I am using all my five senses. Sensuality is a combination of your sensual being and of your reality that you experience at the moment. And the sexuality part is first for me is self-love and self-acceptance, and because celebrating my divine feminine, we're so disconnected from our sexuality in that aspect that even looking at my mom, she doesn't talk about her sexuality or her sensuality. So I realized that it's been a constant topic and issue for women, that the disconnection with their bodies and sexuality, meaning all the ways that our bodies can experience our sexuality. That's what sexuality and sensuality mean to me.
Okay, and what are all the ways?
Oh,
What are some
wow.
of the ways? So what are some of the ways that you focus on maybe in your upcoming workshop and retreats, pleasure path?
Sure. So some of the keys of Tantra are based on breath, sound, movement, presence, touch. And those with that recipe, you can really transform your state of being and state of mind. So we use those practices and incorporate those pillars into actually shifting your experience.
And when you say your experience, is this everyday experience? Is this a sexual experience? And where does the sex come in? Because we keep kind of moving around it, but is sex involved in this pleasure
So
path?
well, in the pleasure path, we guide you on self pleasure practices. So we teach you about using the yoni wand and also the yoni egg practices. So those are included, but it's also actually reconnecting with your body and our sensuality as a body, and being able to feel that and having that connection. For example, when I was sharing with you earlier that I had really no connection with my body, I was kind of like I was really mean to myself. I couldn't, I couldn't accept parts of myself. So what happens is that if there are parts of yourself that you disown, that's not a way of pleasure. So it was about learning to like love every part of me, and we do self-love practices. We do a lot of mirror work that help you reconnect to your divine essence. And we also connect with beauty, and helping look at things in a beautiful way, and not just like aesthetic beauty, but the inner beauty that we all hold.
I think one thing that's challenging for a lot of people, probably a lot of people listening, so many people feel a lot of anxiety, right? Anxiety about their own situation, sometimes finances, family, relationships, the state of the world. I feel like that's such a barrier to even kind of saying, okay, I'm going to commit time and energy to learning how to experience pleasure, when really all I can think about is wanting to escape pain or escape anxiety. Do you know what I mean? I'm kind
Yeah.
of wanting to address those people out there that are like, I can't, like I can't even think about going that end and pleasure. I just want to, can I just get out of this anxiety? I feel like I'm in that fight or flight place.
Yeah, so Tantra also addresses any traumas and triggers that live in your body, and so through somatic practices, meditation, breath work, these address this, because when you're in anxiety means that your central nervous system is dysregulated. So your body is always trying to come back into balance, and so we take you through a journey with practices that help you regulate yourself through breath work, through somatic practices, through vocal activations, through self love pleasure practices. They help you to come back into your parasympathetic, where you're not in fight or flight, and you're in like rest and digest. Those are the two parts of your central nervous system.
Okay, so if are there some things that you could maybe recommend before we really dive a little deeper into the pleasure path, which is your mentorship container, your women's mentorship container? Can we maybe also give people who are just not knowing where to get started, maybe a few things that they can do on a daily basis to just start the journey?
Yeah. So one of the most impactful practices that I had was I actually went in front of a mirror. So, folks, everyone out there in Ella's world, I want you to go find preferably a full length mirror. Okay. And then get down a piece of paper and a pen and write down, make 2 columns. Write down what I love about my body, and then like write a body part. And then write on the other column, you write down what I don't love about my body. Okay. So you make those two columns, and then take a moment and actually look in the mirror, connect with your eyes, connect with, and fully drink yourself in the mirror naked. Yes,
Okay.
naked. That means
Naked.
no clothes. Yes.
Zero clothing.
Zero clothing. You're
Mm.
actually taking this time for yourself and actually looking at this beautiful vessel that God has gifted you. So when you're ready and you're looking in the mirror, take the column that is what I don't love about myself, and you're going to alchemize this and transform this. So, for example, when I was growing up, I didn't like my feet. Imagine my family came from a family with wide feet. So, all my whole life, everyone said we had ugly feet. And I learned to not like my feet.
Mm.
So, when in this practice, I looked in the mirror and I just held my feet as if it was somebody that I cared about, my child's feet, my lover's feet. And I actually transformed it and said, what I love about my feet is that my feet have taken me to so many beautiful countries, and I get to experience different cultures. What I love about my feet is that I get to ground into the earth and feel Mother Nature and the soil. I'm actually doing that right now.
I see this.
I'm telling you
Yes. You are
because that
demonstrating.
I'm demonstrating because that's what embodiment is. Because we could read all the books about tantra and these wellness practices, but if you're not actually doing it and you're not actually connecting to yourself, there's just beautiful practices that somebody told you about that I'm sharing with you, but you really take the time for yourself and do it, and really celebrate and alchemize the things that you didn't like about yourself, and actually what the beautiful things that they've gifted to you.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, I also didn't like my nose. I didn't like my nose. Imagine. So now I actually love my nose. It's actually like this perfect shape. And I really had I had this like hate affair with my nose. I thought it was too round. I didn't have a bridge. In fact, my mother, when I was growing up, used to tell me to rub my nose so I would have a bridge. Like all these
Wow.
crazy things. Yeah. So I am looking in the mirror and I'm just gazing at myself, and I'm just so grateful for my nose. And so what I love about my nose is that it allows me to have this profound relationship with scents and perfume and Mother Nature and my lover, and being able to smell things and have this glorious sense through my nose. And it also allows me to uh, use my nose as a sense for me to be able to like really really connect and with my breath, using my breath as a practice and using the inhale through the nose as a way to regulate my nervous system. So it's a beautiful thing. So you need to find the gift that
Mm-hmm.
whatever that you did not honor or like about you in the mirror, you need to find the gift, and that is the medicine. That is the medicine that you can connect with right away. And also
I,
another practice that I love to do is called um, it's called the lotion dance. So put on your favorite song that you love to dance to, then get your favorite lotion and put some in your hands, put on the music, and just explore and cover yourself with all this lotion, and just feel like, look at the landscape of your body and all the valleys and the shapes that your body makes, and really just take a moment to feel the texture and the scent of yourself, and really be fully present with yourself. It's such a glorious, because I used to get out of the shower. Okay, I gotta put lotion on. I just put lotion on, and
Yes, that's
like
me.
to really slow down,
Mhm.
connect with your breath, connect to the music, and put that lotion on and just spread it all over you. And it's just the most profound experience. That's one of two most favorite ways of connecting with your body.
Thank you for sharing those. And I think you hit the nail on the head too when you talked about, and I talk about this quite a bit. It's like, okay, there's a lot of people out there who know about things, right? Because there's so much information, right? There's so many podcasts, there's so many books, there's
So many.
so much information out there, and it's great information. But if we don't actually do the practices, the actually apply them. So it's silly, some people might be thinking, oh, sure, that's great in theory, but I'm not going to actually do that. That's where the medicine, like that's what you said, that's where the medicine is in the actually doing the practices and being there and being present. That's the
Yeah.
important part. And so,
It's,
yeah, you just gave me
it's,
an idea to every time I get out of the shower to do the lotion
yes,
dance, because we could do that every time we get out of the shower, right? We have to get out of the shower anyway. We get to get out of the shower anyway. I stopped using have to.
yes.
We get to get out of the shower. We get to put on lotion. We might as well be connecting with our bodies when we're doing that.
Yeah. And you could, like, this is a wonderful practice to really connect with yourself and find ways that you could slow down, take a moment. So, for example, when I'm feeling like I'm in a rush and I'm about to eat, I actually put the silverware down between every bite
Yes.
and chew at least 20 times,
Yes.
because if not, I'll be chewing so fast, swallowing food particles that are not even fully, you know,
Yeah.
masticated in our mouth, and the
Yeah.
enzymes, are not fully digesting it. So you really, really need to slow
Yes.
down and really, really need to connect to your breath, connect to the experience. And I also love to remember the vitality that the food that I'm about to
Yeah.
eat is is what becomes our cells and our bones and my hair, and how that gets alchemized and transformed in your body, and how the systems in your body work in conjunction to give you the highest wealth possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Any of my clients listening right now know about the chewing your food, because that's one of the first things that we do when we're talking about building healthy relationships, right? Building a healthy relationship. So let's talk now about, let's have you give a little more information about the pleasure path. Uh, I'm trying to, I think people, I mean, orgasms. Can we just talk for a minute about orgasms before we get there? Is that something that, like, I think people want to know about orgasms?
Yes, you can have multiple orgasms. You can have full body orgasms. I've even experienced throat orgasms and laughing gasms and nipple orgasms and toe orgasms and foodgasms. Yeah, literally. Yeah. So,
Really?
yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So, what I love about Tantra is that Tantra works with our energetic body. So, the energetic body, we work directly with our chakra system. So, the chakra system is our map our of our energy body and energy anatomy. So that is in our energy field. So we work by opening and activating and unblocking anything that's a barrier to the chakras. So the chakras are wheels of light or energy vortexes that the nadis, or the highways of our body. They stop and connect in our energy centers called the chakras. So by opening this up, we're able to have our energetic body flow. So you can have full body orgasms.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Yeah.
explaining that. That's very
Oh,
helpful.
and I do want to say
Yeah.
the beautiful path about Tantra and orgasms and lovemaking is that there is no goal. Like
Mm,
there's no rush to the finish line. There's no rush. It's really taking the time and pleasure to connect in the heart and spirit space with your partner. Like, it's the most profound experience. Actually, my first experience with Tantra, my friend said to me, Tantra is going to ruin your sex life. And I said, come on, what are you talking about? I thought it's supposed to help my sex life.
Right.
It's both a catch-22 because it did transform my sex life, but it also made me realize like what the potential of Tantra lovemaking is, and
Mm,
being in a conscious relationship with another person. So it does elevate that, but it also makes you not settle for
mm,
breadcrumbs. Yeah.
mm. Okay, got it. That makes sense. All right. Okay. So once you get there, so does that mean you for you finding partner, like do they need to be into Tantra already, or is this something like if somebody's in a relationship and they start down the Tantra path that they need to get their partner on board? You know what I'm saying? Like how should people look at that?
No, I mean, I think it's a beautiful invitation. So Tantra is about an invitation of trying something different, the way that we've been trained. Like, we've been trained on fast sex, on porn, on like multiple relationships, on instant access to many things. So Tantra teaches you about a different way of loving yourself and loving another partner. So, and also, there's so many beautiful practices that actually connect you to the spirit and soul of your partner that is completely not taught in any sex education class. So conscious relating is really what Tantra is about.
Can you imagine if they started
Oh my
teaching
gosh.
this? This
So
world would be such a different place.
I just wanted to say, in my one of my first tantra experiences with my partner, I was asked to soul gaze, and I said, soul gaze? Oh my God, I gotta look at your soul? Really? And my partner asked me to gaze in his left eye. So we're gazing at each other's left eye, the receptive eye. And for 11 minutes, I could not get past maybe 20 seconds.
Wow.
I would be so uncomfortable. I would start giggling. I would completely disconnected from my body. So now you ask me that, and I'm like, yeah, go ahead. Ask me 11 minutes. I got you.
Yeah.
So because I was able to connect with my higher self, connect with my body, connect with my soul and my spirit, and actually see the person in front of me, and connect to their soul essence. And I could see that clearly. And for the longest time, it would bring me to tears. And I actually even remember after graduating in my tantra trainings, I thought to myself, "Oh my God, am I ever going to be able to share in public and to teach without actually crying?" Because
Mm.
I was it brought me to tears how much it's transformed my life, and I wanted to share that with others. Yeah.
Amazing. All right. So tell us about Pleasure Path and where people can learn more about it and get signed up.
Oh my gosh. So we have so many amazing things coming up in 2024. So one thing I'm really passionate about is called the Pleasure Path. So the Pleasure Path is an 8-week, 8-session container for women's mentorship. And why I wanted to focus on women, because number one, I'm a woman. And number two, I never had this information growing up, and how much it could have allowed me to heal myself much more in a fully forgiving way. And I didn't have that growing up. I didn't have that role model. And also, my mother was a young mother, so she also didn't have these tools and practices that can help her. So myself and Yulia Rose were on a mission to share this, and the invitation is for all women, all sisters, all mothers, all grandmothers, all daughters. And it's the greatest path and greatest gift that you can give yourself to come on this adventurous journey with us. It launches in February, and it meets every Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern time. And we take you on this adventure with yourself, and it heals the generational trauma between women, between your own matriarchal lineage with your ancestors and your mother, your daughter, your granddaughters. So it's a really beautiful path that I'm inviting. It's a call to women, call to action for us to come together. So I'm really excited that Ella's going to join us, hoping to get Ella's sister and her mother to join us. It's really a profound experience that it's a gift you give yourself.
Amazing. I'm so excited about it.
Yeah.
And just to encourage everybody to, and how do people sign up or
Yeah,
learn more?
so you could sign up on my Instagram link. It's in my
Oh, it's
bio.
in
You
the
can sign
Instagram.
up.
Okay. We're putting
Yeah.
that in the show notes, of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also another profound training that we have coming up is called Awaken as Love. Not awaken to love, but awaken as love. So I want to make that distinction because we are already profoundly love beings, and we forget the connection that we are love beings. And so Awaken as Love is a beautiful container. It's also a 7-day retreat, and we have festivals and retreats all over the world. So we have a beautiful retreat coming up in Vegas, and we also have one coming up in Miami, and we have a beautiful festival in Tulum, Mexico, and it's a beautiful blend of the pillars of shamanism, Tantra, integral theory and consciousness, and also somatic movement and dance. So with those 4 pillars, it's a beautiful journey of transformation. So that's also on my Instagram link as well. So yeah, I would love for you to join me in one of those experiences or just connect with me. I'm always doing events in Miami or wherever I'm traveling. It's really my heart's passion and desire now that I'm no longer in the food retail business.
Yeah. But you're still making connections, with between food and, it seems like this is kind of this umbrella of your calling and in your evolution. It's this umbrella that the veganism fits right into it. It seems like.
So one of my containers that I have with my private clients is called Eat, Breathe, Love, Magic. And so of those 4 things, so eat is about wellness and nutrition and veganism and cleaning out your cupboards and what it means like to really care for yourself. Breathe, connecting to your breath and to your body through breath work. Love, the path of Tantra, and magic, how you can alchemize yourself so you can have the life that you're really meant to live, which is a free life. You're able to create the most ecstatic life that you can possibly dream of. It's all possible. I know, because I'm like a walking embodiment of that.
Yes, you are.
I was like a robot, and I was like, "What? This is my whole life is just passing by me." And then I was, able to redefine and recreate a new life for myself. So yeah.
Thank you so much for being here, for sharing your light in my own life and in the world and on this podcast. I love you. I appreciate you.
I love you so much, and I overflow with so much love, and I just want you all to know that this is possible. Reach out to Ella or to me. I would love to connect in any which way possible.
Yay.
Yay! This is called a heartgasm. Whoosh!
Whoosh! We will in there. I love you.
I love you.
Hey.